Alright, so what's going on, everybody? Today we have a wonderful game called Heretical, and it is a roguelite action RPG. It's a very small indie developer, I believe. Find it on Steam for like 12 bucks, I think. $12, $14, something like that. But it's got elements of Diablo, I think of like a Hades also, has a retro PS1 style aesthetic, graphics. Every character has a proficiency in a certain armor or weapon, and they each have their own individualities of skills, such as a ranger, warrior, wizard. I believe there will potentially be more added to the game. It is in early development still, but it is still a wonderful game for what it is, and I love it. We'll get into it. I'll show you guys what it's all about, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Alright, so you start up in a pleasing menu, at least to me. I do really like the visuals of it. It's simple, but effective, you know? Turn this on always so that the developers can continue to improve the game as they see fit and as the community sees fit, you know? I don't think I really need that. They may eventually add more to the graphic settings, but we will see. Sound, music's wonderful. We'll get into it. So you can start out with you actually start out with one character. That would be the warrior. He is a tank of sorts. He has many proficiencies, more so than the other two. Mastery of heavy armor, shields, swords, one-handed axes, and one-handed maces. This means that when we go through, we have our RNG drops of items, and when you're looking at them, these are the ones you want to try to find because they will make your run much more easy and more effective. Stat line, pretty simple. Strength is armor and physical damage. Your crit chance, strike, and projectile damage is dex. Your elemental, magic, and resistances are intelligence. And your vitality is your heals, hit points, and max HP. He does have two other proficiencies, but they are only adept, which means they not quite as effective. And he has a starting skill of shield bash, which lets him every few seconds absorb a direct hit in front of him. This is based off the block force, and we'll get into that later, but this is our first guy. Next we have our Tizian Lost Ranger. Super cool, pretty cool character. Kind of like the design. This one's pretty cool too, but he is our Dex Ranger type, so he has highest of Dex, and then so on his strength for the physical damage, you see. But he also, one other thing, he starts out with an extra 50 hit points over other characters, and an extra 15 armor over other characters. Here we have our Ranger. He has an extra dash charge, which is really nice. Physical damage of attacks and levels are always +1 with him, and he does an extra 25% damage to beasts, which is really good. So he is more of a medium style character, I would say. So he gets the medium armor mastery, he gets the two-handed sword mastery, one-handed axe adept, and a bow mastery. And he starts out with an attack here called Deadeye. Increases attack range and has a chance to slow down enemies when he hits them. Additionally, you shoot missiles towards all nearby enemies when attacking. So there is a guaranteed shot after 5 seconds to shoot an additional arrow or missile, as it calls it. So that will help you clear mobs and stuff as you're shooting. So you shoot 3 arrows off the rip, and then after 5 seconds you'll shoot another 3, and so on and so forth. You get it. Here we have Rubius, our elementalist, basically the wizard of the game so far. Probably my favorite design. I love the mask. Super cool. Probably my favorite character. So right here we have Rubius the Elementalist. He's our wizard type, so he has highest intelligence. He also gets an extra 15% magical elemental damage, which is like your fire, ice, and lightnings. And he gets an extra 20% magic res. Makes sense. He is our lightest armor master with cloth. He also has a relics mastery, wand, and staff mastery. And he has a skill which is really strong called elemental overload. So as you do any of those types of damage, you also do a large nova burst around you, clearing any enemies that are close by. And it also gives you a barrier. So you hit enemies with the nova, you get a 25% barrier, which is very good for survivability. And of course, if you're feeling on a day that you don't know what you want to play, just click a random. Yeah, so that's that. So you will start the game by being brought into a place of, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a weird place. And basically, yeah, let's get into it. So you'll come up here and start exploring the cemetery here. There's be some enemies. I have played the game, and unfortunately you cannot do multiple saves, so a lot of the stuff has already been progressed. So these are chests right here, and they will give you items, which will give you random gear. And as you level up, you have your bar down here, which is your XP. Filling this up will then give you a choice of 3 random skills, which will then allow you to customize your character how you want, and they will fill out these right here. Every skill is done randomly by doing a certain event or doing a certain amount of attacks, such as that. Here we have some lore that we can read, kind of explaining some of the stuff that's going on. So you go through here to the cemeteries, and you're slowly building your way up this mountain to try to reach the top. There will be swarms of enemies here, so you may die several times, you may not die at all. You know how it goes. It is a roguelite after all, so as you die, you learn enemies, you learn bosses, you slowly build your repertoire of gear and skills, and that in turn will give you the feeling of great progression, becoming more powerful, learning stuff, very satisfying. The cage has something locked in it. I will not spoil it for you because I want you to try this game out and get excited about finding all the cool stuff that I have. So you'll also continue along once again around pulling levers, killing enemies, doing the dungeon crawler stuff. Here we have some more enemies. You can also start going around and getting to new areas. I'll explain that shortly. And you'll work your way along the side of this cliff here. And here, I'm sure you could probably tell, but we have our first boss, I would say. He's relatively simple. I've beaten him once already, so he has disappeared from me, unfortunately. But again, I don't want to spoil it because the bosses and learning the mechanics of the bosses is really satisfying and makes the game worth playing, in my opinion. After you beat him, you'll work your way up here. You'll slowly move around, finding items, finding levers. You'll unlock some shortcuts a la Dark Souls style by pulling levers. So if I pull this lever, it eventually unlocks my elevator here. So if I was to die, respawn, but then I would have my elevator here to skip everything, should I choose, you know? Then you'll work your way over here, and you'll slowly walk into these 2 fellows right here. This right here is our shop. So a lot of these options you may not have right away. It is a pretty cool shop the way it works. So you can buy some rerolls to reroll skills that you may not like when you level up, to give you the opportunity to kind of craft the kind of build you want, whether you want to do a full lightning or full fire, full warrior, barbarian, bleed build, stuff like that. You can also banish skills when you level up, which gives you the opportunity to get rid of stuff that you never want to pop up in your rotation again, hence giving you the likelihood to curate the build you want. Here you can buy a random skill, which will basically give you 1 skill at random, so basically giving you a free level. Here you can buy some XP for the next 25 kills, which can be pretty nice depending on if you know what's coming up next. And here you can buy straight up potions, which will just give you full stat boosts to your character, such as attack speed, dex, crit chance. And here you can straight up just buy a skill, either a skill, or you can buy a skill level, which is, say I already had execute. If this was to be in the shop, I could buy it and it would increase my original execute to level 2. If that makes sense. Of course, you have your essential reroll. So say you could buy literally everything in here, reroll the shop, gives you new items, gives you new gear. Up here we have fresh gear. These are basically guaranteed to be rares from what I have seen. You eventually will unlock unique weapons, which they just added in this recent patch, which makes the game really fun, especially if you can pull them, and really exciting. So if we look at the gear here, as you can see, the gear, this is a relic. So if you look at the top, you have your implicits, which I think that's right, implicits, which is the type of gear. So the skull fetish, I said fetish, okay. So we have the skull fetish. This item will always have increased damage dealt and skill damage on this specific skull relic. Now the 5%, that stuff will always change. So it could be 5 and 5, 6 and 4. That's the number that changes, but the increased damage dealt and skill damage will never change. Also, with relics, they come with a cool passive, which is while channeling its power, The skull grants you 25% cooldown reduction, which is cooldown reduction for your skills, allowing you to do them more often. Then you have your suffixes, which is the blue. This is always random. They will always give you some kind of damage increase, movement speed, attack speed, resistances, armor, etc., etc. You get the gist. If you play Diablo or any kind of looter game, that's the basic rundown. So, super cool. Here, you can enchant your gear, which adds a suffix to any of the gear you have. So I have a common helmet here, but if I enchant it, I get the yellow suffix, which is 4% chance to blind on attacks. Or on this one is 7% projectile damage, which is just more damage, which is really nice. So there is that. That's the shop. This guy, this is where the big roguelite element comes into play. These are what you call prophecies. So it's basically, it's a prophecy, if you know what that is, saying, if you read this one here, poison the headmaster. You will kill Academy headmaster while having caustic bomb skill. So if you have caustic bomb skill equipped and kill the headmaster while it's in your skill, you get a skill upgrade, which gives you the caustic bomb plus, which is, this is the ending part of the game, which is what roguelites are for. So as you keep going, you'll be replaying the game, doing all of these prophecies, unlocking equipment, gear, unique boots, unique mace, necklace, skills, and all of these are permanent for every character as you unlock them, which is really cool. And once you have fulfilled a prophecy, and you can only fulfill them once you have died, finish the run. So once you've fulfilled them, click on them, and you get the rewards, which is this one right here. College seal is forever broken. You'll eventually learn what that means. No spoilers here. And as you unlock and fulfill prophecies, you will in turn start unlocking even newer ones. So, whoa. Gain ability to change armor appearance, additional skill slots, like unique items, skill rerolls added to my... Yeah, so I had a really insane run previously on stream. You should go check out my Twitch. Twitch.tv/booty cheese. You know the drill. Drop a follow. Very appreciated. I play tons of indie games, multiplayer games. You know, I just play it all. I love it all. So yeah, that's the gist of the roguelite prophecy, unlocking skills and doors and stuff like that as you play the game, which is what keeps you coming back and loving the game even more every time you play. This is our constellation, which is the big skill tree, full progression of your character. What this does is it lets you go through and pick stats on your constellation. It's pretty minimal at the moment, done too much with this, but basically you have your red, which is your strength, physical attack, blue is your int, cooldown, orange is your vitality hit points, and green is your dex attack speed, etc., etc. You can go through and read the mains in the middle and the smalls. As you unlock prophecies and stuff, you will allocate more stardust, as they call it, which you throw your stardust into the constellations, which gives you passive upgrades and boosts. So if you look at the above your XP bar down there, you have the flashing left trigger and right trigger buttons. So once you level up, you will unlock your left trigger here. What this is the 3 skills that you get to choose from randomly after you level up. And you can go through, you can see underneath you have Trickster, you have Windseeker. Oh, and you'll notice you have another Windseeker. So this is where you can kind of morph your character into the style you want. So you can look for trickster skills to be a trickster, doing traps, poison, stuff like that. Windseeker, that's going to be like wind and tornadoes and attack speed and stuff like that. So we can do this. But if you look down here, we have Banish. And what Banish does, of course, you click on it. So let's say I don't want to do any kind of tricksters with this run that I want to do. So I'll click on this and I'll confirm. So venomous coating will never be in my run for the rest of the run, which means this slot is going to be open to something even more different or unique. So I'll click off Banish. So this is reroll. What this does is if I click this, it rerolls all 3 of my skills, allowing me to choose from 3 other random ones. You'll eventually unlock this as you keep playing the game. So here we can just go with, I'll just go with Meteor because Meteor is cool. All right. So now I have down here my skill slots. I have Meteor. at level 1. And as you level up, you'll get another opportunity to increase this to level 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Well, the way this works is if you read it in yellow, every few seconds, a meteor falls from the sky, dealing fire damage and causing the ground to burn for a few seconds. So every few seconds, it drops a meteor, but you see the cooldown here is 5 seconds. So every 5 seconds, a meteor drops. The impact damage, which is the damage that it does when it hits, is a random variable between 7 to 12 damage, 12 being the max. And if it crits, I think it's doubled, so the highest you could hit is 24 with the meteor. The burn damage is 23 every 4.4 seconds. And then, not sure if you can crit with burn damage, but if you do, it would be to 46 per every 4.4 seconds. This is where cooldown reduction would come into play. So if you got 50% cooldown reduction, it'd be 2.5 seconds, you drop a meteor, etc., etc. So that's how that works. Every character has a dash also. So you have the 2 charges. I think you start up with 1. Besides the ranger, which gets 2. Everybody has a LB. Mine is the relic. See, as I do this, I can't cast spells at the moment, but if I did, it would basically speed up the rotation of my skills as I held down my relic to charge it. So here we have our right trigger, which is going to be the RNG equipment that drops whenever you kill enemies. So the way this works, every time you go through, you can either equip your new piece of gear or keep your old piece of gear. And you can determine that by looking at stats. So we have this one, 8 thorns. I'll take it because it's just an extra stat that I have. Definitely worth it. Now, so here we have a relic or a shield. This is another thing that comes down to your preference and playstyle, which is what gives the game a lot of replayability. I can either go with an extra increased damage and skill damage, and the cooldown reduction whenever I use it, plus thorns, or I can get 10 armor, 19 block, and extra juggernaut and barriers on kill. This is where you determine how you want to play the game. And if you remember, if I go up here in my stats and skills, if I look at this guy, you probably don't have him just yet, but proficiencies are cloth armor, shields, relics, one-hand mace, and a wand. So that can also help me determine what style I want to do. This, I can just pick whatever I want because he's proficient in either one. So we will just go with keeping our old. So here I can go between 2 different helmets. We will probably go with this one because it has the frost resistance, which is really nice. Resistances early on is very helpful here. So see, this is where I talk about implicits. So we have these common boots and these magic boots. We have 2 armor, minus dash cooldown. So those will always have those 2 things no matter what. The numbers will change sometimes. Other than that, they'll always be the same. So we'll go with the movement speed here in the armor because it's 2 extra stats to help us improve. So here, there's common, magic, rare, and unique. So rare is the ones you will use probably the most because they will always have about 4 or 5 extra stats or suffixes added on. And the type of element, attack speed, and damage increase will change. So this is a frost damage wand, fast attack speed, and I get an extra 5% frost damage with the crap ton of stats here, so I'll just get that. So that's the rundown of our armor and stuff. So that's that. So I believe these are newly added to the game recently. So these are rituals, and you get these by killing certain types of enemies. But they'll drop you these red crystals, which will let you do rituals. And what these are boon/banes. So we'll just do this one. Okay, so I can get this, but now I have to overcome or do a sacrifice. So I'll just do this one because I have 451. That's not going to hurt me too much. So now I have an extra 24 resistances to all elements, which is very strong. This is one of the starting area bosses. This is one of the bosses you want to kill when you feel powerful enough. He has many AoE attacks. You want to stay inside this ring. This is the only boss I will fight. I don't want to spoil too much, but I do want to show you how some of the combat works. A lot of it is kind of simple, but if you make a mistake, it can be pretty devastating, to say the least. So I'm just going to whittle him down, dodging attacks, casting skills. And now as you attack, you do move slower, so if you need to get out of the way, just stop attacking and you'll move a little quicker. You lose a little DPS on that way, but you also stay alive more often. So I killed him, and he drops you a bunch of gear. So yes, and then of course doing that will inherently, it'll unlock a door for you somewhere. It'll unlock a prophecy for doing it so many times. Stuff like that. Yeah, it's Heretical. Definitely worth checking out. The developers here are super cool. They reworked a lot of systems. They made the game a lot better. They fixed the blocking, so blocking feels really good. So yeah, stay tuned. Well, maybe I'll drop a little more videos on here. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments, and maybe I'll make a video for you about it if you have any questions. But yeah, go check out Heretical on Steam and leave it a review. And yeah, I hope you check it out and enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Well, thank you guys for watching the video. If you guys enjoyed it and checked it out, leave a comment down below. If you guys have any thoughts about the video, first time doing this in a long time, fully edited by me. Go check out my Twitch channel, bootycheese/Twitch. And thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.